It is almost dark outside, and yet it is nowhere near sunset. There is the coziest, squidgiest layer of cloud over England, well, where I am in England anyway, and it's the perfect weather for a Sunday. Like, if you could read it in a storybook what the perfect weather for a Sunday would be, it's this. And I've got my autumn winter lighting set up so that you can actually see me, because it's so dark. And in all honesty, I've just been working all weekend, which is lovely. I feel very lucky to be working this weekend, and I've been working on lots of lovely things and just finishing bits and pieces off because I've got a busy week ahead of me. And I can actually finally tell you something that I have been keeping under wraps for the last few months, and I feel like I've been doing a really terrible job of that, but it's been the dream to be able to bring this to life. And in all honesty, all I wanted to do was tell you about it from the beginning, but as with all of these things, it's not up to me. I don't make the rules, but I can tell you about it now. And so I hope that you will just take a little walk with me for a moment, because I have been building up to this moment, and often I get quite nervous with these things. It is part of who I am, but when I really love something and I really want you to understand how much I love something, I get quite nervous about sharing that, and I don't know why. And often I try and like cover it up and pretend like I don't feel that way, but it's the truth. Whenever I really, really care about something, I feel the pressure of telling you about it. And there has been no greater project that I have worked on in my career, in all honesty, and I've worked on some unimaginable moments and projects and collaborations in my time, but there, obviously, I feel like you guys know this anyway, but there has been no bigger and more profound project than when I launched my book Evergreen 2 years ago. And I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. We're not crying, okay? Stop it. This launched after a number of years that I had experienced just the learnings and unlearnings of a life that I had built on things that I thought would bring me joy, and the learnings and the journey that I embarked on to learn the things that actually bring me joy. And I wanted to package all of that up into a book for others to read if maybe they find themselves on a journey that they think is supposed to lead them to some point of happiness, and when they start taking those steps they realise that maybe it's not leading them to that point. So I wanted to put everything that I had learned, inspired by the natural world and the beating heart of the seasons, into a book in order to make it somewhere that you could refer back to, and a place where if you're ever going through the natural ebbs and flows of life, will remind you of the strength and the resilience that you have within you, and that these moments are all part of a life well lived. This has been single-handedly the most joyful, which is ironic, but it is one of the most joyful milestones in my career, and it has taught me lessons even after it was published. I think I learned so much about the enduring success of a project, and how throughout the months and years that have followed, how so many of you still message me and let me know that you are finding Evergreen in the height of summer but a personal winter for you, or the depths of winter but a personal summer for you. And those messages have truly inspired me in this next project, but also been such an unforeseen joy that I will never be able to thank you all for. And I just find it so hilarious that you will always send me messages, and you never leave me reviews. You send me messages and I'm like, if I could just put all of these reviews that you are sending to my DMs into Amazon, that would be perfect. It's just one of those things that we have. It's almost like this hidden Evergreen club where every day I'll open up my phone to at least a couple of messages from some of you that have experienced the joys of taking those first tentative steps in an evergreen lifestyle and mindset. And so I know that when I'm talking about this, many of you will have already read it, but if you haven't and you're finding yourself in a funny turning point in life, this might be a really lovely place for you to start, because I know that this is the book that I wrote that I wish I'd had 5 years ago, when I found myself in a really sort of tumultuous time in my life and I needed something to sort of recenter me and remind me and take me on the journey of rediscovering where joy actually was. And so there'll be people rolling their eyes saying, Lydia, we know about Evergreen, and then there will be some here that maybe don't. So I will pop a link to where you can shop Evergreen. It makes a wonderful Christmas gift, and the bonus is that it is as beautiful on the outside as I'm biased, but it's as beautiful on the outside as it is on the inside. There are the most stunning illustrations by the artist Diane Sutherland. These end papers have always been something that brings me so much joy, and we have the autumn to winter ones at the back here. But what we talked about when I'd finished writing Evergreen was that I really felt that people would scribble all over this, that they would cut things out, and that they would treat it almost like a bit of a scrapbook or a bit of a journal. And I know that so many of you have over the years. And so it sort of brings me on to my next point and my next chapter in this incredible story. And it's what I've been working on behind the scenes. And it's been an addition to my workload that has cultivated so much joy, but it is the reason why I have had to be a little bit more sporadic and a little bit here, there and everywhere over the last few months. Because writing a second book, of course, it is a journal, but it is a journal with a considerable amount of word count as well. So there's a lot in this, and a lot of love has gone into this. And so I'm not able to show you the book, but I can show you the cover of the Evergreen Journal, which is launching on the 4th of December, which is perfect, just in time for Christmas. And I can show you the cover today. And we worked so hard. I worked with Jess on the cover of this book for weeks and weeks and weeks, just trialing different scripts and different motifs. And what we really wanted to create was the perfect partner to Evergreen, because Evergreen felt like those first tentative steps, and the Evergreen Journal feels like that tangible knuckling down and getting to work on building the evergreen life that you want. And so I can reveal obviously it will be the same size as the Evergreen book, but this is the cover of the Evergreen Journal. We've used the same beautiful foil script and colorways, and it will be bound beautifully just like the book. But I think that these two together are going to be a little match made in heaven. And what inspired me to write the Evergreen Journal was, it's the journal that I wish I had 5 years ago, because I think I would have been able to really work through a lot of the questions that I had and really ask myself those difficult questions as well, and it feel like I'm actually working towards the life that I would like to have. And I think we're going to walk through these seasons and these months together over the next year. And it's also a bit of a different approach to journaling. I have often found myself feeling like I have to hit the throttle in January, which I've always found bizarre, because with Evergreen being so inspired by the natural world, and everything in nature is telling you to slow down at that point in the year, and yet it's all about working faster and harder and smarter and all of this kind of stuff at that time of the year. And yet the nights are shorter, the days are colder, nature is sleeping, and yet I'm feeling like I have to go 100 miles an hour. And so I really wanted to take a different approach with the Evergreen Journal. And I wanted to create a more evergreen approach to working on myself, working on the life that I want to live, and a much more sustainable approach through the ebbs and flows and the natural rhythm of nature. The journal begins by essentially setting out how you will use your Evergreen Journal and talking you through what to expect for each month and how to approach it. I really think that this is going to be something that will be quite loved and dogged by the time you reach December 2026, that there'll be bits hanging out of it and pressings and flowers and leaves and tickets from one of your favorite gigs, and all of those kinds of things are going to be stuck within the pages of this journal. But I think understanding how to use it is super important, because I also didn't want this to be a journal that added to your to-do list, and I didn't want it to be something that hung over you like oh gosh, I've got to make sure I get the use out of this journal. I wanted it to be something that you could pick up when you have the thought to pick up, and when you're ready to ask yourself the questions. And so every month begins with a opener from me, talking you through what to expect that month, what that month symbolizes to me in my personal life, but also in nature, and also hopefully cultivating a little more joy in that particular month of that year. There are also prompts, and these have been carefully curated and crafted to ensure that you are building a much closer and fulfilled relationship with yourself. This is where I think that you will ask yourself questions that will only lead you to that quiet confidence that I talked about when I wrote Evergreen, the book. And it's something that I never realized was a possibility. I always thought that confidence was this loud, brash, in-your-face personality trait, but actually quiet confidence is the knowledge that you know who you are, and you know what makes you happy, and you know what brings you joy, and you build your life, and you work towards building every single day a life around that and around the things that you love. There are many different topics that are covered throughout the months, from gratitude to self-love to even being the leading lady of your life, which has been something that I have had to learn so much about, because I spent a huge part of my own life kind of looking externally for all of the answers to everything, whether it's who I thought I was, whether I was a good person, whether I was a successful person. I was sort of looking for everyone else, or looking for the likes on Instagram to tell me, or looking for the car or the house to tell me. And really, what I learned through this was that all of the things that I was looking at externally to help me build this connection with myself, all of it actually always lived within me. I didn't need the likes to give me the validation. I didn't need the car to tell me that I was successful. I didn't need the house to tell me I was successful. I didn't need the massive group of friends to tell me that I was a good person. All of those things and all of those understandings lived within me, and I just needed to build that confidence and connection with myself in order to be able to utilize those tools. And so, with that in mind, I truly hope that the Evergreen Journal is going to be the comfort and the confidant to you over the next few months in 2026, and really, really help you in cultivating a life filled with more joy, and helping you take care of yourself better as well. And I don't mean that in the fluffy sense. I mean truly learning what you need in order to flourish and bloom throughout the year in a sustainable way. Not putting your throttle to the floor and burning out by March. Learning what you need in January that then helps you to be better in February, that helps you to be ready for March, that helps you to be the best version of yourself in April, and so on and so forth through the seasons. Now, we've got the important part, which is the bit that I always get wrong, but I've got to tell you this, and it goes against everything within my being, but pre-orders mean everything to authors. And I learned this with Evergreen, the book. I really don't think that I let you know how important this was. And so I'm going to say this now, that if you loved Evergreen, and if you are someone who loves nature and loves the thought of building a beautiful life for yourself, for your family, for your children, for your parents, for everyone around you, then I truly, truly believe from the bottom of my heart that the Evergreen Journal is the perfect companion to help you do that over the next 12 months. I'm thinking, is there 12 months or is there 5 seasons? I will pop a link to where you can pre-order the Evergreen Journal now, and you can also purchase Evergreen if you maybe aren't so familiar with what it is that I'm talking about. And I know that there will be lots of you sat there going, I already know about Evergreen, and it will probably be sat somewhere on your coffee table. And if it is, at this moment in time, I want you to take a picture so that I can see it. But I will link both of them down below. The Evergreen Journal will be released on the 4th of December. There will be signed copies available at Jaffa and Neil in the Cotswolds, and I will link to where signed copies and all of that kind of stuff is available in the description box down below. Oh my gosh, I've not even told you the best bit. There's so much in this book, by the way, that it is not just published in hardback in the beautiful way that Evergreen the book was published. It is also available in ebook if you're like a Kindle reader and things like that. Then, but for me personally, I always think that it is like having a copy. I just think, oh, it's just so much more tangible. But it is also available in audiobook, and this is what I think is going to be so much fun, because it's really going to feel like we're almost working through the book together, and you'll be able to hear me reading the prompts to you and reading each monthly opener, and there may even be some almost guided walks through nature, kind of like nature inspired meditations that, like, if you're ever feeling out of sorts or you just need something to bring you back to center, I know that lots of you will put on Evergreen, my book, and just listen to it whether you're in the car or whether you're traveling to work, to just remind you that there is so much abundance in the world. I believe that we're going to be bringing some of those to life as well. So not only is it available in hardback, it is also ebook and audiobook as well. And before I sign off and take you guys to the event with me, I should also mention that, as before, international publications will happen later in the new year. And if you do want to order from like internationally, I would always suggest either through Jaffa and Neil or Waterstones. That really is supporting as many sort of bookstores which we want to keep going as possible. So I'll pop links in the description box down below for that. It is also super important to me that I say thank you to a number of people, and I'm going to start way back at the beginning, and I'm not going to cry, okay? First of all, I want to say thank you to my husband, because genuinely we talk about going through the thick of things together, and he really did have to support me through a lot of difficult times, and he was totally not equipped to do those things, and yet he did. So a huge thank you going like really that far back. Oh my god, why am I gonna cry? And also I want to say thank you to Porter, because our walks together really did help me gain such huge amounts of perspective and taught me the importance of stopping and noticing the seasons and really keeping my hand so that I consistently feel that beating heart of the seasons within my life. And you only do that by keeping that constant connection in both my dog walks and my riding my horse and my chickens and my wine walks with my best friend. Keep me firmly connected in that way and keep my hand, just so I can constantly feel that, like, it sounds so fluffy, but that vibration of like nature, because if I take my hand off, I really notice it in my day-to-day life. And so you really do have to keep that constant connection. Obviously my best friend, because my best friend is like anyone that's ever been to, maybe you came to the Evergreen event last year, maybe you're a brand that has worked alongside Carrie, maybe you are someone that has met her or whatever. When you experience Carrie, you realize how committed she is to what we do, but most importantly, she is committed to me as her best friend. And when I tell you that she too went through the thick of everything, I really do mean it. And I feel like sometimes I'm like, I don't know if there's a way for me to put into words how hard she works and how much she is truly, you know, the beating heart of Evergreen as well, and brought this project to life in such a short amount of time, and is just wonderful. And everyone that's met her knows what she's like and knows exactly like how special she is. And so I always feel like I have to really underpin how important she is to you getting these videos, to you getting these collaborations, to you seeing this. She is the beating heart of what you see every single day. So I really want to make sure that you understand that, but I'm not very good at it sometimes. And she puts up with me, which is just blooming terrible. My publicist, Charlotte, because she came in and absolutely turned my world on its head. And I will never ever be able to put into words the belief that she's had in me, the fact that she chose to give me a chance when she didn't have to. There are some people in this world who will go on what people say about you and treat that as gospel. Charlotte is the type of person that will choose to get to know you on her own terms rather than taking what people have said about you into consideration. And I am so grateful that she's given me the chance that she has, and that we are now like 3 years working together, and I just feel like the luckiest girl to have her working with me, and she really has had the most positive impact on my business, and so I'm so grateful. I mean, Jess at Orion, we worked together on Evergreen the book, and she was the beating heart of bringing Evergreen the journal to life. And it is not every day that you get to work alongside someone who is such a kindred spirit and totally and utterly sees you for who you are. And with all of your quirks, mine, my quirks, not hers, all of my quirks, she still sees the joy and the wonder in me as a person, and sees my mission and what I love sharing and bringing to life. And she's very patient with me. And so Jess and everybody at Orion, I am so grateful for all of you. Obviously Diane Sutherland as well. I don't think I've ever come across someone that encapsulates the beating heart of the Evergreen life quite like Diane does with her drawings. And when I look at her work, I feel like the luckiest girl in the world to have her illustrations not just sat in Evergreen the book, but also in the Evergreen journal. I'm going to thank Atlas, because I feel like he has taught me a level of confidence and strength in myself over the last few months that I never envisioned. And oh my god, I'm not going to cry. Like, I totally shouldn't be a horse owner. Like, that's the thing that makes me laugh the most, is that I don't know enough. I'm not someone that's grown up having horses, and I'm very much learning as I go, and I feel like so lucky that I've got him, and the lessons that I've learned from him are truly special. And some of those lessons were the inspiration behind the prompts that we put into Evergreen and Evergreen the journal. Obviously there are so many other things in there, like recipes and places for you to press flowers and leaves and just capture those moments that connect you with nature. And maybe it is just finding the first snowdrop in February and wanting to press that into the pages of this because it gave you hope. Whatever it is, I imagine that you will have bits and pieces sticking out of this book by the end of the year, and you will be able to look back at how far you have come. And I truly think that this journal will be one of those things where you go, I had it all wrong when I thought I had to power my way into January and actually creating a sustainable, joy-filled life where my career that I love so much, but also my life that I love so much, and me is all nurtured and sustained throughout the year, not just in the times where I allow it or when I book myself a massage. Imagine a life where you can live it beautifully and joy-filled throughout every single month of every single year, despite the natural ebbs and flows of life and the world. That is what I truly believe the Evergreen Journal is about, and it is about cultivating. And so thank you to you for making this possible, for making my life possible. Oh my God, for making my life possible. I've tried so hard not to cry throughout this. But there are so many of you here now, and I can't believe that we're still doing this 15 years on, and there have been so many versions of myself over the years, and whilst I may not like all of those versions of myself, I am grateful to all of them because they have led me to the point where I'm able to share things like this with the world. And if I die tomorrow, okay, give me a minute. I don't have any tissues. It's not even my time of the month. Anyway, we're just going to have to deal with it. And if I died tomorrow, I could die knowing that these were the things that captured what my goal was and what it is that I hope for you and for as many people in this world as possible. So I will link pre-orders in the description box down below. Please. I really hope you love this, and I really hope that it brings you as much joy as it has brought everyone that has worked on this project. I cannot tell you how joyous the WhatsApp group was for this project. We would share so many wonderful tidbits of what we were seeing in nature, things that were inspiring us, things that have brought us peace and joy and love. in this group that I almost wish that there was a part of that I could put into the group, into the journal. But everything is linked down below, and it launches on the 4th of December. I am so excited to hear your thoughts. I'm also excited to work through it with you over the months as well, and I love that it has got even darker since I've been talking to you. But everything's linked down below. Waterstones and Jaffa and Neil if you want to order internationally, and I am just so excited for what is to come from this book. What a joy. And then now I am going to take you with me to the press launch for the Evergreen Journal that I hosted at the Fox and Pheasant, which was the perfect venue. Genuinely, like, it was just the cozy British pub in the most wonderful little sort of street kind of mews in London. It was perfection, and it really was super important to me because I love this country and I love all of the weird quirks that we have, and pub culture is one of them. And wherever I can, supporting British cultures and businesses is a dream come true. So to be able to support a British pub, which is in the same way that we need to support British farmers, we need to support British pubs, we were doing that. I worked alongside the wonderful Duchess and Butler, who did the beautiful tablescaping. She brought evergreen napkins to life with the illustrations from Evergreen the book, and she is just the most wonderful person, and she literally is so patient and brings everything to life. And I'm so lucky that she has been able to work on so many of the events that I think up in my crazy mind. And so yes, we're now going to head to London and head to the event, and I can't quite believe that we're doing this, so let's go. Good morning, everyone. I am currently en route to Chelsea for the announcement lunch for the Evergreen Journal. This is obviously a very, very exciting day, and I'm a little bit nervous. I always get nervous with these kinds of things, but I'm also so excited about it. But it's so weird how this is happening. So the actual announcement, like first announcement to press, happens today, which is before I announce it online. So we have to try and keep it offline until that point, which is going to be interesting. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's not like, you know, we're announcing, you know, world peace or anything like that. But these things are quite nice to keep under wraps and just keep to oneself for a little while. We're having it at the Fox and Pheasant, which is actually James Blunt's pub. Carrie and I went there a few months ago, and it was really lovely, and I felt like it was a really good setting for this particular lunch, because a lot of the things that I celebrate are traditionally linked with like British culture, and I think that a good pub is one of those things that you just cannot put a price on. When you come to England, when you visit, when you live here, a good pub is worth its weight in gold. And what I'm learning is that much like a lot of the things in British culture, they need supporting. So we're currently hearing a lot about how British farmers need to be supported, and I also am hearing, especially from like local pubs where I live, that they too are finding that a lot of people don't go to the pubs anymore. They don't support their local pubs. The way it used to work in England is that the village pub would be able to be supported by simply just the locals on their own, and then anyone that came from elsewhere was like a bonus. And it is not like that anymore. However, it felt very, very like apt to do it here. We've got the private dining space. We have the incredible Duchess and Butler, who has been working so hard to bring the tablescape and the design to life. We have a new florist working on the flowers as well, and I cannot wait. I've already been seeing a few little sneak peeks, but I just cannot wait to see this little cozy room come to life. And I'm really honoured today as well, because I have a few representatives from the charities that I work alongside there as well, which is hugely, hugely special to me. I've got some ladies from the King's Foundation, the King's Trust, but also a lot of incredible writers and journalists and press people joining me today, taking time out of their busy diaries to join me. So I don't take it lightly, and you know how I get like a little bit nervous about these things. I think it's because, do you know what, this is so far out of my comfort zone. I wish I was one of those people that just got up and like just nailed a speech and was really charming and, you know, got everyone feeling wonderful and you know, involved in the speech, but I've never really been that way. And so I push myself out of my comfort zone every single time I do one of these things. And I don't mind pushing myself out of my comfort zone, but if it doesn't look like it comes easy, it's because it doesn't. So anyway, we're heading over to meet Carrie, and Charlotte is also there, and just hopefully I'll be able to help a little bit with the setup, but I'll see you when we get there. Seeing here the cover for the first time, and we have arrived to the Fox and Pheasant, and this was the room that I just got so excited about, because it just feels almost like you're in my living room at home. It feels so cozy. There's old books. I love that there is a celebration of Britishness as well, and the flowers and the table display. Honestly, it feels like you're at my dining table. These are literally the same chairs. Duchess and Butler have gone above and beyond to create the most homely, cozy, wonderful setting. And then we've had Worm Flowers creating what can only be described as autumnal masterpieces. We've got the most beautiful, almost got a banquet feel to it. We've got figs, we've got pears, we've got, I think those are crab apples, there's moss, there's really, really rich, beautiful flowers. I love the use of leaves in there as well, and I love that they're kind of a bit more structural. But honestly, it does feel like you could be in my living room, and there are so many special touches. I love the little walnuts on the napkins, and the napkins, which I feel like are a bit of a keepsake, are actually printed in the illustrations of the evergreen inside pages. I know that everybody fell in love with them, and they really found that those pages were super special and almost like magical. So we've brought them to life in some napkins. I hope that the girls can take these away today, because we've got lots of lovely people here, and I feel like they've got a few things to take away with them, but that I feel is super special. Now, because Evergreen goes to print tomorrow, what they have is an excerpt from the journal, and it's the most relevant to this time of year. So they'll get a chance to go home, get a feel for things and how the journal will be laid out, which I think is such a lovely touch. Obviously, a copy of Evergreen as well, the original book itself, because I feel like these two are going to be absolute partners in crime. But one of the things that we discuss in the Evergreen journal, one thing I've often talked about over the years is my toolkit, but the toolkit never felt quite right, and we sort of got our thinking caps on over the last few months to come up with something that we think will be a little bit more serving and also relevant to those evergreen souls. And we wanted everyone here today to think about what their plant care label would look like, the things that they need to do in order to feel their best self. And I think sometimes we get really confused in life and we think it's, you know, fancy meals and fancy handbags and cars and things like that. But the reality is you actually need far less. Sometimes it is as simple as going for a walk in nature, cuddling your dog, putting on something cozy at home, lighting the fire, investing in yourself in different ways, like a nourishing meal at home, a bath, whatever it is. And so I really wanted to get everyone here today thinking about what it is that makes them feel their best, almost like a reset. And if you were a plant, what would be your plant care label? How would someone best care for you? And hopefully in turn that will teach you to best care for yourself as well whenever you need it, when you're not feeling your best. What are the things that you need to do in order to get back to you, because you are completely in control? And I'm sure I would have told you about at the beginning of this video is what the Evergreen Journal is all about, is hopefully equipping you with the tools and the understanding of yourself and the confidence in yourself to know what it is that you need in order to live the most wonderful, fulfilled, evergreen life. And so this is incredibly exciting, and basically I get to introduce them to the evergreen world, which is pretty much the dream come true. So it's going to be a wonderful afternoon in the coziest setting, and I can't wait to show you a little bit more. But first of all, I'm going to show you a little bit more of the flowers, because these pears are staring at me and the colours and the tones are just exquisite. And I fully realise that I also haven't shown you my outfit for the day. Now I saw Jade Holland Cooper wearing this kind of look yesterday, and instantly I was like, oh, that's the perfect outfit, but you can't see my head, and that's the perfect outfit for today. Now you might be thinking that for an evergreen launch you should be wearing green, but that is actually not the ethos when it comes to style in Evergreen, the book originally. So what I'm wearing today is my Christian Louboutin boots that are way too tall for me, but I've also got my skirt from my Holland Cooper collection, which is launching this week. I've also got a Beaufort and Blake knit on, my belts from my Holland Cooper collection as well, and I'm also wearing my little Fairfax and Faber clutch. But what I was explaining was, when it comes to things like evergreen style and that kind of thing, it is all about things that withstand the test of time. It's not just about things that are green, although obviously green is very close to my heart. It means so much more. It's more enduring, it's more resilient, and it isn't quite so fleeting. So that's why I'm wearing a whole lot of stuff that makes me feel very, very evergreen today. But anyway, everyone needs to get in and get sorted in here, so before everyone arrives, we're just going to get ready.
Everyone. My name is Kate and I'm Lydia's publicist at her publisher Orion. Firstly, I want to say a huge thank you to all of you for coming along today in support of Lydia and of Evergreen. It really does mean the world. To say that a lot of love and care has been poured into this book would be a huge understatement. Lydia knows her audience deeply and has carefully crafted the book to be the friend and champion her community need when 2 hour-long vlogs a week isn't quite enough. When we published Evergreen back in 2023, we had no idea that it would have such an impact on readers, and the book continues to sell week on week. Excerpts have been read during wedding ceremonies, pages have been framed and endlessly photographed, and we even received, I hear, a recording of a song written by a reader inspired by the book. As we come to celebrate 2 years of Evergreen, we knew the time would come to launch a new offering to sit alongside the first book. Our main intention with this new book was that it offered a genuine value to fans of Evergreen and provided a new entry point for those who were just beginning their Evergreen journey. After careful thought and consideration, Lydia decided she wanted to create a book that was both hers and yours, a place filled not just with her nature-inspired lessons and insights, but with your own, carefully unearthed through a mindful journaling practice. So our next publication, we're very excited to say, will be the Evergreen Journal, which is publishing on the 4th of December this year. In it, Lydia will reintroduce readers to the Evergreen mindset with monthly essays inspired by the natural world. Following these monthly openers, readers will be taken through their year, week by week, with nature-inspired prompts to encourage them on the journey of growth and discovery. Today we are so grateful that you can spare the time to celebrate this announcement and experience a little bit of evergreen joy for yourselves. And I'm going to pass over to Lydia to say a few words. But before I do, I would love you all to raise a glass to Lydia and to the Evergreen Journal. To Lydia. Cheers!
Thank you so much for being here today, and thank you so much for those lovely words, Kate. And thank you so much to Jess, who obviously sadly can't be here today, but has been my biggest champion from day one of Evergreen and the driving force behind it all. And of course, thank you to the extended Orion publishing team for bringing my 2 literary creations to life. I will always be forever grateful to you all. I would also love to extend my personal thanks to you all for attending today. I am very aware that you are all very busy people, so to take time away from your lives to celebrate the Evergreen Journal means so much to me. I know I've been thanking you all. I'm like, thank you. I do mean it. To be joined by such esteemed writers and media publications is a true honour, so thank you for your ongoing support. Also joining us today are some wonderful representatives from my charity partners as well, including the King's Foundation and the King's Trust. You all do such brilliant work, and it is a true honour that you are here with me today, and I really, really do mean that. I know I was just saying thank you. It really is quite difficult to put into words what Evergreen and now the Evergreen Journal means to me. And I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that these books have changed my life for the better. And Orion believed in Evergreen when it was just a seedling of an idea and helped me bring it to life. The time I spent curating and writing Evergreen was some of the most profound, cathartic and healing months and moments of my life. And to see my wonderful community supporting this project on publication and then nurturing it as it grew has been such a privilege. It's now something far greater than I ever could have imagined. To me, quite simply, it is more than a book. To read the thousands of messages from those in which Evergreen has helped heal is the greatest accomplishment of them all. The joy it has created, the newfound appreciation for the seasons, and the community within a community it has created. The sharing of stories, the walks in nature, the pressing of petals, the baking of cakes, and the making of cocktails. The reader's dedication, curiosity, and kindness has turned my book into a living, breathing movement. I also cannot downplay the fact that Evergreen and its success has given me the resilience to exist in this industry with confidence and strength. In the pages of this book, I documented my story, my epiphany of life online, and the impact that it had on my mental and physical health. Recent public events, lawsuits, and legislations regarding online forums have brought this topic from the pages of my book to the national media. It is just the start of a journey in justice and truth, and more importantly, a better, safer future for those with careers and communities online. The Evergreen Journal, an excerpt of which sits in front of you all, so I hope that you enjoy it, stick things in it, draw on it, do all that you want to do with it. It's truly the perfect continuation of the Evergreen magic. It allows the reader so much more tangible Evergreen involvement with lessons, insight, and journaling within these wonderful pages. I hope it brings even more seasonal joy in the lead up to Christmas and beyond. So thank you all so much for being here, for supporting Evergreen today, next Thursday, and into the future. So let's all enjoy a beautiful lunch, if that's okay. My hair was perfectly coiffured this morning, but Ali and I have been out in the garden filming for my announcement video for the Evergreen Journal, and I thought, because it is such a rainy, wet and soggy day, although the sun is just about to come out, which is just hilarious. I feel like we've had 4 seasons in an entire morning, in all honesty. Hopefully we've been able to capture that in the video, but this is one of those days where, like, it's Monday morning, you've got to go to work and work needs to be done on this day, but it's so easy to be disheartened by the weather. And when I woke up this morning, I took a look out the window and I was like, my instant thought was, it's not ideal. I would really like it to be sunny, and I would like it to be dry, and I would like it to have the perfect daylight so that I can film. This is just from the perspective of my job. I'm sure if you're getting ready for your commute, there's nothing worse than getting soggy on the way to London, or walking from your car to your offices, and you can think to yourself, I really wish that it was a warm, bright, sunny day. And I often remind myself with my own thoughts how easy it is to get into that mindset, but I am equally reminded how much by the people that are around me who are going through their own evergreen journeys. Some find it easier to find the joy in the seasons rather than finding the joy in their lives, whereas others find it easier to find the joy in their lives and not find the joy in the seasons. And it's such an interesting perspective to watch. It reminds me of how much I'm in the driving seat of my life when I can sit there and watch someone that I love so obviously steal the own joy from their own lives. And so I thought you might be having a lesser than joyful day today, or morning, or whatever, and I thought what better video than in the Evergreen Journal announcement video than to give you a walk in nature when the weather isn't ideal. My hair is completely soggy and ruined, and you'll notice that throughout the announcement video it just gets soggier and soggier. But I want to show you a few of the things that, just stepping outside of my back door, I am able to acknowledge as something that gives me a little bit more joy, and something that makes me feel lovely things. So first of all, one of them is literally right beneath my feet. I am literally like blown away by how the tree canopies, so there's one European plum tree here, there is an oak tree here, and there is an ash and a hawthorn and all of those things all around me, and yet they're all shedding their leaves, and they're all shedding their leaves at different times. How on earth have they managed to create the most beautiful pattern? And it's almost like, if you look closely, even the little twigs, the little stalks, everything looks like it's been placed to create a pattern. How on earth does that happen? And then every so often you get a little patch of greenery in there, you get a little patch of the lawn and the grass coming through. But this is Mother Nature painting the most exquisite work of art. I don't know how, when everything's going on in the world, noticing something like this doesn't bring you the most immeasurable amount of joy. That something like this, when we try to curate and build and manufacture beauty everywhere, and it's always thrust upon us in different cultural ways, and yet look at this. This just happens, and it happens slowly, and it happens quietly. One day these trees are bright green on the leaves, and the next they are brown and yellow and carpeting the garden or woodland floor. That is magic, in my opinion, and I honestly implore you, when you're next leaving your house on a day that maybe feels less than joyful, that you just take a look at where your feet are treading. There could be bunches of leaves that have been blown into the corners of pavements and roads and at the stumps of trees, and all of them are just creating this most beautiful work of art that I actually cannot believe. And it looks different everywhere you tread, even though when you really sort of look at it, it's different works of art from different trees. This one has a lot more yellow in it. There's a few little field maple leaves in there as well, but it is just so beautiful. Now we're into the little woodland pathway, and I have to say that this was bringing me so much joy. Look at this clump of moss. Just look at it. That is like a sculptural but yet delicate, feathery beautifulness of moss and leaves. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, you're so cute. But also we have these logs that we salvaged and used to border our little woodland pathway. And again, if you look closely, you've got all of the ground ivy growing across the woodland floor like it's carpet. And then you've got beautiful moss that is just so fluffy and so beautiful and growing in ways that you couldn't curate even if you tried. Now, I'm not sure if you can hear the pitter-patter of the rain, perfectly on cue as we shelter beneath the leaves of the trees here, but that sound is up there with the sound of the waves when you're by the coast. It is so, so beautiful. And of course, there are areas of everything, whether that is nature or your life, where things are not so picturesque and beautiful and curated and put together. I can focus on those things if I want to, but I choose not to. I choose not to focus on the lifeless, limp leaves and the broken branches and the dead blackberries. Instead, I choose to focus on the beauty that is curated by the moss and the woodland floor and the logs and the ground ivy and the leaves that have fallen. And it's so interesting to me because I had someone message me recently and they said, I wish I had your life. And it was after a number of stories that I'd posted out in nature. It was so funny because what I was looking at was something that really was just my view and my perspective of the natural world that I was seeing in front of me. I could have focused on the car park that was next to where I was taking my picture, and it's often misconstrued as like an Instagram versus reality, but it's actually more about where you choose to focus your energy. I can choose to focus on all of the things that are not beautiful and all of the things that are not perfect and all of the things that make me angry or annoyed or sad or upset. And instead, I choose to shift my focus. And what curating this evergreen journal was all about was showing you that the ability to do that exists within you. every single day. And I'm not saying you're going to be perfect. I'm not saying you're going to wake up every morning with a positive mindset, but you will be aware and you will become conscious of the fact that you have the ability to choose, and you can choose your negative thoughts, and you can choose your negative focus, and you can choose the bad things that you want to focus on and the stories that you tell yourself of the reasons why you are the way you are. Or you can shift your focus and focus on the beautiful mossy woodland floor that is going to be gracing us with its presence for the next few months. And I personally am going to enjoy that a lot. I'm getting a little bit soggy, which is quite nice as well. The chickens are working away in their coop, but I thought that I would just show you a few of the things that I think bring me a little bit of joy, because I think that sometimes it's easy for someone to stand around and say, it's just about seeing the joy in the seasons and finding the beauty. And it's like, the beauty is always there, but so many of us spend our entire lives walking through life choosing to focus where the beauty isn't. And I think that that is life-changing. Well, my hair definitely did not survive spending the morning outdoors with you. However, I have just had a bit of a try-on session, but I've not been able to show you what it is because I'm planning an outfit for an awards that I've got coming up. It's very exciting because I am being dressed by one of my favorite brands ever. The reason why this is so exciting for me is because it's a brand that I have so much synergy with in terms of like my love for the natural world. Very, very evergreen. And I completely forgot that they had sent the earrings that honestly I'm going to fully purchase these, because these are, it's so lovely that they've arrived today and they get to go into this video, because these are the earrings that I have been looking for so long. Oh my gosh. These are the most beautiful, beautiful drop ivy leaf pair of earrings. And I also think that they will be really lovely as... I really think that they will be lovely as a pair of studs as well. They don't make them as studs, but I think if you wanted to buy them and make them into studs, because what you, oh my gosh, I'm gonna buy 2 pairs of these and I'm gonna make myself a necklace. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn these into studs. I'm gonna order 2 pairs and you're gonna think I'm nuts, but I'm gonna do it. Anyway, I'm gonna put them on and show you, because these are the earrings that I'm going to be wearing with my dress. And I said to my publicist Charlotte that I've got 2 dress options from Oscar de la Renta, and one of them is a little bit sexy in a Lydia Millen-esque of the word, and the other one is very, very Lydia Millen-esque. Everyone has voted for the sexy dress, so I just want you to know that if you see me wearing a sexy dress very soon, then I need you to hype me up, because I don't often wear sexy dresses like this. But the earrings feel like, honestly, like a celebration. I'm actually going to take these. But I love them. But how cute would they be as a little ivy leaf stud? Oh my gosh, I love them. I'm ordering 2 pairs and I'm turning them into studs and into a necklace. That seems like a really lovely idea, in my humble opinion. Call me a jewelry designer. Now I'm gonna head downstairs because I have a whole load of sourdough starter that I need to make into cookies, and I have been dreaming of those sourdough cookies for weeks since I made them, and I can't get them out of my head. And seeing as I have discard, we're gonna make them. We're gonna get the dough ready, and then I'm gonna chill the dough, and they should be ready for this evening so that Ali and I can have a nice cakey, doughy biscuit together. Every so often you just walk into the kitchen and find a rogue chicken perched somewhere outside, chilling with the squirrel in the background as well. And today it is Gwyneth. She's having a great time. Having a bath. So we're going to make sourdough starter discard cookies. This is a recipe that I found on Clever Carrot. I find that that's a really good website for all things sourdough as well. But this is my discard that I'm going to use. I've saved it in a little pot, and that's what will be going into the cookies. I also adapt the recipe a little bit. I don't use raisins. I have also often crunched up some chocolate bits to put in it as well. It is so delicious. So I'll pop the recipe, but I'll pop my version of the recipe maybe in the comments down below. If not, we'll find somewhere to pop it. I also have to show you the most wonderful gift that Charlie sent me, which I think you are going to love. So she said that one of her friend's mums, I think, made this for me, and I was like, oh my gosh, look at that. They've embroidered my crest with LM in the middle, and it's on the most gorgeous ticking stripe in sort of a really nice vintage green. It's got pockets as well, so I'm going to pop this on whilst, oh gosh, it's got really long ribbons as well, which makes it super, super cute. So you can give yourself like a proper bow at the back. I would love to be able to like sell things like this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all of my ingredients ready to begin with. Then we shall start the process, because it's not a quick recipe, this one, I would say. There's lots that you have to do, like toasting the walnuts and things like that, which is a new thing for me. As you'll know, I am not someone that does baking or cooking or homemaking for a living. It's something that I'm very much learning with you, and it's something that I've documented quite a lot on my channel, and also through like the evergreen process of the things that I didn't grow up knowing, but I'm learning to embrace and love later on in life. And so sometimes it's not the easiest to me, but boy am I dedicated. And there's lots of topics that surround this, like being an amateur within my book Evergreen, but also sort of more encouraging and proactive methods in the Evergreen Journal as well. So if you're one of those people that, like me, you've often shied away from trying things, maybe you're worried about not being like good at something or not being a professional, that's something that I often worry about, is that obviously I'm here on the internet and I'm just sharing my life, but some people might see that as me being an authority or a voice of authority, and that's not who I am at all. I'm actually an authority on being an amateur and how it's okay to not always know everything and to learn on the go and share when you're learning, and that's what I'm doing. And so there's lots of that in Evergreen, and hopefully the work in the Evergreen Journal will obviously inspire you to perhaps do the things that maybe you've been too apprehensive to do, that you think you'll love but you're worried about being an amateur on. Right, I'm gonna get my ingredients. So 180 grams of all-purpose flour, which in the UK is, I have to double check that. See, I don't know this stuff. So the Clever Carrot recipe lists all-purpose flour. If you're in the UK and you didn't know this, all-purpose flour is plain flour technically in the UK. So all good in the hood. Let's get all my ingredients out. 120 grams of rolled oats, 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. We filled this together earlier. Baking soda. 1/2 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda and 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. 1/4 teaspoon of fine sea salt, which is just in our little pinch pot. Now onto the wet ingredients, and we need 113 grams of butter, which is a very interesting amount. 170 grams of brown sugar, which I would have thought is a dry ingredient, but apparently it's a wet one. So it also says 50 grams of granulated sugar. I don't know what that is, so I just use golden caster sugar. Can you believe this? We've got 9 chickens and we currently have no eggs. So I have to hope that there are 2 eggs in the coop. Pray for me, otherwise we're not making these cookies today. Really, Olive? Really? Come on now. Look at the size difference at the moment between Clementine and Henny Penny. This is what happens during the sort of shedding season. We've got Jemima who is shedding. So some of your chickens look really, really good and the others don't necessarily look so spiffy. Now come on ladies, you've got to have delivered the goods. Come on. Oh my goodness me. What are you doing? Where's Sweet Pea? Sweet Pea! Sweet Pea! Come on! Here she comes. She's always on her own. Come on, Sweet Pea! Come on, my gorgeous chubby girl! Come on! Come on, I believe in you! Good girl, good girl! Oh, come on, Sweet Pea. Everyone's rooting for you, my love. Absolutely everyone. You are the star of the show, my love. The star of the show. Good girl. Oh, good girl. The moment of truth. Oh no, we have 1 egg. We have 1 egg. Girls, you had 1 job. I thought I could always count on Olive to have laid one, but this looks like a Gwyneth egg to me.
going to believe this, but I've just found
The stash.
the stash. Those are all Burford Browns except for the other one, so we can have the Burford Browns. Is there more?
No, I just saw her in here. I've been seeing her in here.
Yeah, so Beatrix has been laying her eggs in here. And oh my gosh, there's another one in front of you.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my gosh.
3, 4, 5.
There's one behind you as well. Did you pick the one up behind you? I can't believe that. Ali just said we need to go around everywhere now because it's like an Easter egg hunt. I think maybe if we check Olive's old laying spots. Oh, I don't think she's going to have been laying in here. No, there's no eggs in there. That is genuinely hilarious. We have been wondering where and why Beatrix hasn't been laying eggs. And now we know. She's been popping them down the side of the house where it's all cozy and warm. I obviously have to try and make sure that they are okay to eat because we don't know how long they've been there, but fingers crossed they're okay. So you need 1 whole egg and an egg yolk as well. I have to say, Burford Browns are my favourite. I have just quickly washed this one, but because I'm going to use it, it doesn't matter. What, my love? What have you got to be miserable about? Then you will need 50 grams of your sourdough starter. I think this will probably be just enough. And also 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Oh, hello, Potty. Hello. And then it is half a cup of toasted walnuts. I honestly think I might do a whole cup though because the toasted walnuts are so good. And then I just crunch up some chocolate and throw it in as well. I don't really know whether it needs it or not, but it is bloomin' lovely. So I'm gonna toast the walnuts whilst I get the ingredients ready. So I just add a little bit of olive oil because it helps make them golden. I worried that it might affect the taste, but it didn't. So I just pop that in there and let them warm up and toast. And I'll just crush them up afterwards, pretty much. Right, now I'm going to weigh everything out so it makes it easier. A teaspoon of baking soda. Right, the dough is in the fridge cooling, so basically it's not the most complex of recipes. It's basically just you mix all the dry ingredients, you mix all of the wet ingredients, and you then combine them all, fold in the oats and pop it in the fridge for an hour plus, basically, and then you can bake it whenever you want. It's super easy. The only thing that maybe takes up a little bit more time is the toasting of the walnuts. I am now currently en route to the stables just to drop off some spray for Atlas so that I can do his little spray whilst he has his dinner, and I just get to say goodbye to him because I'm not going to see him for a few days. So I'm pulling up now and I'm going to see my boys waiting under the tree. Not you, Romeo. Ah. Here you go, Atlas. Happy floppy boy. Little muddy monster he is. We have to put him in this pen because otherwise Romeo goes for his food, and having this pen means that we can put him in there and then other jobs can be done like around him, because he likes to take his sweet time eating his food. He savours every mouthful and just enjoys it. Anyway, I'm heading home. Well, I have been rivaling the Great British Bake Off this afternoon. I am absolutely pooped. It's nearly like 11 o'clock and I am absolutely sourdoughing out of my ears. This one is for Jeff the farmer
and this one is for us. And I've got cookies baking in the oven, which I am going to eat before I go to bed, because you've only got one life. I wish that you could smell these right now, and I cannot believe that I managed to get in a fresh bake of cookies before bed. It's nuts. I should not be having a cookie before bed, but I'm going to. But I wish you could smell this. These are the most autumnal cookies I have ever smelled in my life. The cinnamon just gives it the most perfect autumn vibe. It is just perfect. Oh my gosh, my mouth's watering. I put little chocolate chunks in there as well as the walnuts. But one day I think I'm just going to try some other different concoctions because they're so delicious. But this is my favourite thing to use my sourdough discards for. Oh, they're just the coziest cookies. It has been an absolute bake-off in my kitchen, and it really has filled my cup. Genuinely, when it gets to this time of year, I often feel a little bit out of sorts if I'm not doing little homey bits at home. And I've got my last trip of the year coming up. I think it's my last trip of the year. I don't want to get ahead of myself, which means a lot more at home time as well, which is just wonderful. I feel like we should try a cookie together as well before I remind you that pre-orders are live for the Evergreen Journal, and I just don't want you to sort of forget that this is happening. This is such a big thing for me. I'm super excited. There's obviously recipes in the Evergreen Journal as well, some that I've shared with you, just like little snippets when I was recipe testing and things like that. But there's lots of different things in there to do, and I'm really looking forward to almost having like an Evergreen book club with you, where we weekly do the prompts and everything and notice the bits in nature that are happening at that time of the year, and just, I think it'd be such good fun. Now, baby, you sure you don't want a cookie?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you.
I'm gonna have one. Just look. Oh my gosh, they're still maybe a bit warm. Oh, they're like cake cookies. Oh my gosh. And not only are these made with Daisy, my sourdough starter, but they are also made with eggs from the hens, which you would have seen me collecting them today. Just makes them even more wholesome.